On today's ChurchTechCast.com screencast show, the steps I would take when opening ProPresenter for the first time. Hi, and welcome again to the ChurchTechCast.com screencast show. This is the show where every week I help you with software that we use in the church. My name is Paul Allen Clifford. I'm your host. I'd love for you to join the conversation and leave your questions, so just do that below the video. That's a great place to do it. You can also head over to trinitydigitalmedia.com/contact, and there you'll find some great ways to get in touch with me. So, a lot of churches have been putting off switching to ProPresenter. They've heard from other churches that it's awesome, and they've been frustrated by the solutions they're using, whether it's been something free, it's been something that they've used for years that just isn't meeting their needs anymore, or what have you. So I've talked to a few that have said, well, this is great. How do I get started? Well, this is the video where I tell you how you get started. So let's head over to my computer and I'll just show you the first few things that I would do if I was in your circumstance. So if it was my first time into ProPresenter 6, here's what I would do. First off, you wouldn't have this playlist, so let's delete that. So we're going to start over here and let's create a playlist. So we click on this. Now you can't see this, but down below on your monitor you'll see a choice for new document and new playlist. Let's go for new playlist. And let's call it something. I typically do date first, 2015, then year, then day. So that way these playlists will always be in order. Now you may or may not have any songs, so if you don't have any songs, we need to add a song. So we can click the plus button and go to new document. This comes up here, and this is some important stuff that you need to know. First off, let's give this a title. Let's go with a song from my seminary days, and can it be? Okay, and then the category, you can do a song, presentation, worship, Christmas, confidence, speaker notes, etc. And then you can choose different templates. So if you like this, you could go with this, something like that. And you can change all this stuff later. So we're just going to let this be as it is and go for new. Now this gives me an initial slide. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this slide and go to edit slide. Now I can double click on this to edit, as it says. Well, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to start typing this out. And by the way, you don't have to type it in. This is just you've got some time and you need to get it working version. So, and can it be that I should gain carriage return and interest in, oh, that was a misspelling, interest in the Savior's blood. Now, to add another slide, I just click the little plus down here, add slide. Died he for me who caused him contain for me who him to death pursued. So you just keep doing this until you get the entire song there. And now once you have it like you like it, we can just click this button here and you'll see the song. So the song is now added to the library here. I have the playlist, which can contain several elements, and I just drag that down. So now this song is in the playlist. And you might be thinking that you need to add in a background. Well, what I normally do, and this may or may not be right, is I just add in another song slide there, and here, let's make sure I click on just the one, and I drag that over. I would do this in advance, and then I choose the background that I'm going to get from backgrounds. Now you might not have any background, so how do we fix that? We go down here to the plus button. You might guess that. So we click plus. And then we need to navigate to the media. Let's say here that I think I actually have some over here in Land of Giants, which is my media drive. No. Let's do a search for some media here. Yeah, I do have some. So it's actually in a totally different spot. That little search dialog is very helpful in OS X. If you're on Windows, it will take a lot longer to do this. So just a second here, let's go with the 2D bars loop. So I'm going to open that. And so now I have this background. You'll notice this little swiggle kind of loopy arrow. That means it's set to loop back on itself. We'll cover that in a later episode, but here I just want to leave that as it is, drag it on here, and now I have a background, and this will remain until I replace it or tell it to remove it. I can tell it to remove it by right-clicking and adding a cue, a clear action cue, clear the background. I don't want to do that. So by clicking here, you'll notice that the words stay in. And that's another thing that you really need to know here. Down here we have our transitions. I don't think the push is probably what you're going to want. Most of the time you're going to want either a cut or a dissolve. So I'm just going to go with the simple cut, which is what's down here, and you'll see that. So that's basically how this would work. Okay, you just repeat that for all your songs, repeat it for sermon notes, and you should be good to go. If you need a foreground video, you can bring in the foreground videos by clicking on foreground, then clicking on the plus, same way. In case you're confused about what's a foreground and what's a background, there's a little icon in the lower left-hand, upper left-hand corner rather, that looks like this for backgrounds, and for foregrounds it looks like a little slate. So here, let me actually make that a little bit bigger. So So there's that, and there's this. So if you want to add a foreground video, you can just drag that directly over. So I have a song, I have a foreground video. That's basically how you would go about doing it. You can add Bible passages in and other things, but that's just the basics to get you started when you first do this if you've never used ProPresenter before. Well, I hope that helped you. I hope that answered some questions and made it a little bit easier for you to create a very basic Sunday or Saturday, depending on when your church meets, presentation. The tools in ProPresenter are actually pretty easy once you know where they are, but sometimes it can be a little daunting. We're going to cover more about this in the upcoming weeks, so by all means subscribe and come back for the future. And if you like this kind of content, I've got more for you. And I'd love for you to join me, for example, with my email newsletter, which I send out weekly. And you can get to be a part of that by going to trinitydigitalmedia.com/gifts. GIFTS. There I've got some church tech gifts for you and a free subscription to my email newsletter. So make sure that you sign up over there. Also, if you're looking for more church tech resources, some of my books and some other great stuff that I've created with you in mind are over at trinitydigitalmedia.com/store. So you can get that stuff directly from me, and it's all created with the church techie in mind by a church techie, because here's what I want. I want you to spend as little time as possible doing tech and spend as much time as possible doing ministry and time with your family. So go over there, get those resources to get better at doing church tech. Until next time, this is Paul Allen Clifford with trinitydigitalmedia.com.